Ladies and gentlemen, our student showcase tonight, for those of you who haven't heard the cherry pickers from W.E. Cherry Elementary before, you're in for a real treat. So enjoy W.E. Cherry Elementary School Cherry Pickers with John Davis and Gary Murch, directors.
Okay, nice to see you all. This is our school song, and it's called Boil Those Cabbage Down. Boil Those Cabbage Down. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I think I need to explain what you're looking at here. This is a group of kids that are dedicated to learning how to play an instrument. As a school music teacher, general music teacher, I see the kids on a rotation with the art teacher, with the PE teacher, and the library, and other activities that they get exposure to the different things, different arts, different things that they might want to, pursue later on in their education. But some kids really love music, and we make an opportunity after school so that we can give them more specific instruction. We don't turn any kids away. It's just whoever would like to learn how to play does. And all that could not be possible with that man right there, Uncle John Davis. And want to say anything, Uncle John? No. Well, that's a surprise, but we're going to now, I just wanted to also say that during the summer, we have a camp at our school. In the past, I've tried to get our string players into the Jacksonville Symphony Youth Orchestra, to which I was successful. Last year, we had 5 kids from W.E. Cherry that joined the Jacksonville Symphony Youth Orchestra, and they didn't enter. They didn't enter at the very beginner level, jump start strings. They were either in the foundation or the encore level. So, because the orchestra program has, tiers of harder and harder and harder, but our kids were not the basic beginner level. So I'm proud of that. And but in our summer camp, we have been kind of gearing it towards that, so kids learn about European classical music, and they're really absorbed in that for 32 hours during the summer. And that's been really successful. And I got to thank Concert on the Green for funding a whole entire session of that last year. And we look forward to their support this year. But without community support, music is important, and we really appreciate all your support. Now, kids, you got to listen to kids. Kids teach me more than I teach kids, if you can believe it. because they let you know what works and what doesn't work in their education. Truly do. So I have come up with a new brainstorm at age 64 years old. All right, that's not that old, right? And it's a hip-hop band camp. So I'm reaching out to community people that know about hip-hop, and I'm, watching it on TV. And I got to tell you something. There are 3 things about hip-hop that I have learned. It's all about these 3 things: peace, love, and having a good time. I mean, if we all just took peace, love, and having a good time, what a great experience we'd all have. So, it's not going to be the Mr. Merch kind of meanie Mr. Merch tone. Okay, you're going to hold that thing like... No, we're going to have fun this summer, and I hope you enjoy our next piece, which is going to start out as a bluegrass song, and then it's going to merge into kind of like a taste of what the concept is, where we're going, okay? So this one is called Shady Grove, our last song. Now, you're going to want to clap along, perhaps. I'd rather you don't, because our drummer has to hear that bass player, and he needs to make sure that he's locked right in the pocket, and he will be. Second grade. Oh, by the way, our kids, these drummers are in the 2nd grade. So these are... That's crazy. W.E. Cherry kids playing drums. Our drum set player plays at his church, and his auntie, I was talking with her, auntie and mother, are the praise and worship leaders. So he, for some reason, two other churches, my wife and I is sitting right there, and she says, "This is her birthday today. Happy birthday, Marlene." But we see that the praise and worship leaders get their kids playing drums, and they know. That's the thing. That's the thing to be right there, man. Drummer. Okay, give the drummer some. Okay, Shady Grove it is.
Yep. That's... Okay, so that's how we do it at W.E. Cherry, and you're gonna learn more about our school very shortly. So turn it over to you.
Boy, let me tell you, if this is the energy and the funk you're going to bring this board meeting, you're always welcome to come. You know, my job is to improve teaching and learning, but I saw John get down over there. Hey, and some of y'all getting down out there as well. Give a round of applause. Great job. Awesome work. Good job, Mr. Birch. Good job. Good job. Thank you. Good job. Good job. Good work. Good job. Always. You need help, baby? Good job. Good job, buddy. Good job.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think we can just all go home now. We feel good. Hey, thank you so much. That was such a treat. Now try to get that drum beat out of your head. Mr. Davis, maybe he'll teach you to play the drums.
There's a hands-on superintendent. A roadie too, right?
That kid. Is that everything? Our invocation tonight will be led by Reverend Todd Bussey, who is the campus pastor at Christ Church on Fleming Island. If you would lead us in the pledge also.
Yes. Would you please stand with me and we'll pray and then we'll say the pledge together. Father in heaven, we pause in this moment to do what we need to be constantly reminded of your sovereign goodness and your greatness. There's no one more important than you, and that's good for us to know that you are God and we don't have to be. But as our Father in heaven, you bestow upon us so many great gifts, that of wisdom and discernment and leadership. And it is our prayer today that you would guide our board and our staff today in the important decisions that they have to make to help our children. We pray, Father, that tonight will be a night where we'll see alignment of thought and purpose and direction. Father, that you will bless every participant here as they are giving of their gifts and their abilities. Lord, that you will pour into them and bless them as well. Thank you for our children. And Lord, thank you for our school system that is committed to raising them in wisdom and stature and favor with you and with others. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. Let's pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much, Reverend Bussey. The Clay County School Board meeting, May the 2nd, 2019, will come to order. I'd like to welcome all of you citizens of Clay County. I want to take this opportunity to thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to attend tonight's school board meeting. This meeting is our opportunity as your elected representatives to collaborate openly and make decisions that will decide the future direction of our public schools and the education of our children here in Clay County. If you wish to address the board, there will be an opportunity for you to speak for 3 minutes. Please fill out a card, which you will find located in the back of the room. Indicate the specific item number or topic you wish to speak about and turn it in promptly. And if you would, you may turn your cards into Chief Wagner, who is the tall man in the uniform. Our new chief of police. Okay. No additional cards will be accepted once the board moves to the public comment section under presentations from the audience. Your participation is welcomed and appreciated. If you haven't had a chance to look at the artwork on the bulletin boards at in the back of the room, Oakleaf Village Elementary School students have some of their masterpieces on display. So if you get an opportunity, be sure and look at our boards around the back walls. Next are recognitions and awards. We want to recognize the Clay County academic team. Mr. Mike Wingate.
Good evening, Superintendent, board members. As you have learned over the years, we love recognizing our outstanding programs and our students. And this is just another example of a bunch of outstanding students here in Clay County. They just got back from Orlando. I don't think they went to Disney World, but they were in competition in the Governor's Cup. And we're going to introduce the sponsor of that program, the teacher who is really our county liaison. He and the other academic coaches at the schools chose the all-county academic team, and we're going to let him come up and share a few words about the competition and then introduce these fine young students here. So let's please welcome Mr. Ken Remsen.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I want to first thank the school board for allowing us to, inviting us to come and be recognized today. Really appreciate that. Our team does an amazing job. But before I introduce these amazing young people and young adults, I want to just quickly tell the board just a little bit about what some of our past players have done after they've gone through this process, gone through college, and went further. One of our players, I just wanted to let you know about, his name is T.J. Warner. I just found out that he has graduated from Vanderbilt. He has a degree in mathematics and now a doctorate in mathematics, and is now a professor at Notre Dame, and he was one of our Clay County players. So that's pretty exciting. Another one of our players, her name is Charlene Zia. She graduated from MIT and is setting the world on fire, I believe, in environmental science. And one of the other great players we had is Noemi DeLeon, and she is now working at Google in Seattle. So I keep in contact with her and her parents as well. So just a interesting mix of folks that come through here and go out and represent Clay County in just an amazing way in leadership in the world, and I fully expect the same from our current players. So they are just as equally amazing. One of the things before I bring them up, I also want to let you know that part of the process of preparing them for the competition is that I take them to the Cummer Gallery of Art downtown. And I don't think it's the case with this group. This is a very cultured group, I was informed by the group, and that they have been to many museums, which is great, but there are times when we bring students up there, it's the first time they've ever been in a museum. The other nice thing that we were able to do is we were able to go to the symphony one evening, and we learned a little bit about Rachmaninoff, and we enjoyed that a lot too. So very exciting times, a lot of fun to be able to do that. So let me introduce. First, I'll bring Venetia Roshko. She's a junior at Oakleaf High School. So if you'll come on down. Yeah, just kind of stand there, turn around, face the audience. Face the audience. I learned on our trip as we walked through Epcot. I know that it's shocking that we were kind of close to Disney, so we did visit a few places there. And she was wonderful in pointing out all of the plants there, and so she's our botanist extraordinaire. Next, I'd like to introduce Owen Pope. He's kind of our anchor man. And he is from Fleming Island High School and will be heading off to UCF. Is that correct? Excellent. I'd like to bring down Michael Pyle. Come on down. He's a senior at Fleming Island High School, and Michael is going to be off to the United States Naval Academy, so that's pretty exciting. told me he's knows how to swim, so we should be all right. And he's an amazing, yeah, it's the Navy, right? And he's going to be a tennis pro. He's also a tennis pro now. I mean, they don't have to wait for that. Amazing tennis player. Next, I'd like to bring up Kyle Bisson. He's a senior at Ridgeview High School, and he's our resident pole vault champ on the team. So we had a lot of interesting players this year, and he's going off to University of Florida Honors College kind of thing, or just regular. Well, isn't the whole thing an honors college? I mean, yeah, that's okay. No, did I just make you sad? I'm sorry. All right, then Lucas Cathy, come on down. That's my next player. He's from Ridgeview High School, a senior, and he's off to University of Florida as well. Come on down. He's the one going to the honors college. All right. So I knew one of you was ready. And then last but definitely not least, Ala Osman, come on down. She is a junior at Ridgeview High School, and this is her second year playing with us. So we're hoping to have her back again next year. And also what was really exciting, she's a junior docent at the Cummer Gallery. So when we went to visit the gallery, we got to go behind the scenes, which was the first time we ever had a chance to do that. And I want to publicly thank her for that opportunity because it was really amazing. And she's going to be our future biomed engineer type person. So she's going to be, I don't know, I'm thinking robots and all kinds of fun things and humans all combined together. It's going to be great. Okay? It's going to be great. All right. So I've got certificates for each one of you, and then we'll get ready for a photograph. Here we go. And before I leave, I just wanted to let Mr. Wingate know we have something for him as well, and we would really appreciate that. Where'd he go? There he is. Thank you so much from the team.
That's great. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
And also, before I go, I also want to talk real quickly about my right-hand man, Mr. Brian Gartner. He was an amazing assistant coach and kept me out of trouble the whole time, which is a very big job, very big job. And I've also got some things for him, too. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Do what? Yeah. Okay. Our next item on the agenda is the 2019-2020 Drug-Free Schools Calendar winners. Erica Gilbert, School Counselor Specialist. There you are. And I think you all have a calendar at your seat.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. It's a pleasure to be here this evening to congratulate and honor the students who contributed to the calendar this year. I see a lot of you already have them, and you can see a great artwork included. And here with me is Stephanie. She'll introduce herself later, but she's a huge part of this award process also. But I wanted to just point out that drug prevention is something that happens within our homes, within our schools, within our community. And I feel that the students tonight who are being honored, that they have let their voices be heard in their way in this very powerful and beautiful calendar. And the students will get a copy today, and it's going to be all over the county in classrooms. So the students who are winning tonight have done something great within this calendar. So we thank you very much. Stephanie's going to share more about the Clay Action Coalition and the process. Okay.
Good evening. I just want to speak for a minute about the calendar and why we do it. So My name is Stephanie Gohagan. I'm with Clay Action Coalition. We're a community anti-drug coalition here in Clay County. And today we're here to award the 14 student winners for their amazing artwork that they submitted in the Red Ribbon Week of October of 2018. And their theme was Life is Your Journey, Travel Drug Free. And so during Red Ribbon Week, there are many activities at the school, and as part of their activities, they're asked to submit artwork that has a drug-free message or a message that's around the theme. And so those pieces of artwork are submitted to us, and this year we received over 200 pieces of artwork, and we had to narrow them down to 14, and that was incredibly difficult for us, and we certainly use our community partners to help us with that. And this project would not be possible without the support of the administration, the teachers, and the support staff, and obviously the students and families of the Clay County School District, so we're very appreciative of that. We thank them for supporting our mission of promoting a safe, healthy, and drug-free community for everybody. And we know that that starts at home and with families. And so this calendar is designed to provide tips and resources for families to use to build their toolbox with strategies to help them make their children successful and to resist drugs. And we also would like to give special thanks to our fundraising coordinator, Joe Gilmore, who works very hard every year in the community getting sponsors for our calendar, and Agility Press, who prints them for us every year, and they work with our budget, and they always make sure that we're able to get them out into the community. And then all of our sponsors, of course, who make monetary donations and allow us to circulate as many as 3,000, and this year will be 3,500 calendars into the community absolutely free. And a special thanks to the National Guard because they made a major donation this year, so we were able to print more calendars. The high-intensity drug trafficking area of Northeast Florida, Publix, the Clay County Sheriff's Office, Green Cove Springs Police Department, Orange Park Police Department, Best Price Furniture and Mattress, Doctors Lake Family Dental, Pinch a Penny, Jacksonville Memory Gardens, Family Practice Associates of Orange Park, First Command, the Tobacco Partnership of Clay County, and Clay Eye Center. And these are people who also support our mission for a drug-free community. So we make sure that we support them. And then, so let's get to presenting the certificates to the students. So when I call your name, if you'll come up and receive your certificate and remain up here so we can take a group picture at the end. Our front cover this year was Lindsay Herrera, the 6th grader from Oakleaf Village Elementary School. I'm going to keep moving. So our inside cover winner was Adeline Wiley, a 1st grader from Orange Park Elementary School. Our regular month calendar winner, Grady Howell, 5th grader from Coppergate Elementary School. He was August. September, Austin Nost, 4th grade, Clay Hill Elementary School. I apologize if I pronounce names wrong. October, Austin Early, 2nd grader, Doctors Inlet Elementary School. November, Kalina Paris, 6th grade, Orange Park Elementary School. December, Margaret Hughes, 6th grade, Thunderbolt Elementary School. January, Hazuel Gonzalez Roldan, 4th grade, Argyle Elementary School. February, Layla Mazarak, 5th grade, Plantation Oaks Elementary School. March, Janie Julian, 3rd grade, Ridgeview Elementary School. April, Anais Itterwald, 4th grade, Coppergate Elementary School. May, Lindsay Moreland, kindergarten, Doctors Inlet Elementary School. June, Lathan Turmer, 3rd grade, Coppergate Elementary School. And July was Collier Puckett, third grade, Clay Hill Elementary School.
I think it was early.
And if the parents of the winners will meet us in the little area outside of the doorway, we have some additional gifts for the students.
First, we need to allow plenty of time for photo opportunities. If the students might want to get a little closer together. Oh. Okay. Margaret, don't go too far away. And Miss Austin Early, where did you go? Miss Austin Early. I want you to come here. You're Miss Florida Sweetheart. Will you turn around and let's let everybody give you a hand? That's wonderful. Okay, thank you, Austin. Thank you. Margaret, I want you to come here a minute. Last weekend, Thunderbolt Elementary did a production of Annie. And it's not often that we do this, but I saw something in this young lady, and the music teacher, Martha Reed, just happens to be the organist at my church. And so I said to Ms. Reed, I said, I haven't seen talent like that in a long time. Do you think that she could possibly come to the school board meeting, because your talent needs to be shared? And Mrs. Reed said to me, well, as a matter of fact, she's going to be at the board meeting because she won one of the months of the calendar contest. And I said, well, God does work in mysterious ways, doesn't he? Okay, but she is so special that I wanted her to share her talent with you tonight. It's all yours.
Thank you. The sun will come out tomorrow, bet your bottom dollar that tomorrow there'll be sun. Just thinking about tomorrow clears away the cobwebs and the sorrow till there's none. When I'm stuck with a day that's gray and lonely, I just stick up my chin and grin and say, oh, the sun will come out tomorrow, so you gotta hang on till tomorrow. Come what may, tomorrow, I love ya, tomorrow, you're always a day away. Yes, officer? A stray? Oh no, officer. She's my dog. Her name is Sandy. Right, that's it. I call her Sandy because of her nice sandy color. Well, you see, officer, I just got her. And sometimes Here's Sandy. Here, girl. Sandy. Good, Sandy. Good old Sandy. Yes, officer. I understand. Oh, I don't mind the weather. When I'm stuck with a day that's gray and lonely, I just stick up my chin and grin and say, oh, the sun'll come out tomorrow, so you gotta hang on till tomorrow. Come what may, tomorrow, tomorrow, I love you. Tomorrow, you're always a day away. Tomorrow, tomorrow, I love you. Tomorrow, you're always a day
That, I can't even say anything. It took my breath away when I saw her last weekend, and it still takes my breath away. So much talent. Thank you so much. And Miss Healy, the principal of that school, are you here? I don't know if she's here. I know they are so proud of what is done, and things like this and the cherry pickers is why this board supports the performing arts, and hopefully we'll get us this performing arts school one of these days in Clay County at the elementary level, and then gradually build up, and we'll have our own Clay County version of Douglas School of the Arts, absolutely, in Clay County. Okay, I wanted to share that with y'all. I mean, she's in elementary, what, 6th grade? I mean, I can't sing like that. You can't sing like that. It's amazing. Okay, next, recognize outstanding 2018-2019 school volunteers, Ms. Nicole Snyder.
And how am I supposed to follow that up?
Hey, can you sing?
I used to do show choir in high school. I did, but
Oh,
I've
well,
retired those days.
You're next month. Tell
Not
me your
next.
song.
Okay. So good evening. I'm excited to announce the 2018-2019 Outstanding School Volunteer Awards for 3 categories, including youth, adult, and senior. So these 3 winners, they were sent to the state to compete, and while they didn't make it to the top, we're excited to recognize them tonight for their hard work and dedication at the district level. So I'll start with the youth winner is Abby Ferry. She's an 11th grader from Orange Park High School, and I'll read her bio. She can come down. I can read her bio while she's coming down. So Abigail Ferry is a junior at Orange Park High School and part of the collegiate high program, and dual enrolled at St. John's River State College with a current high school GPA of 4.4. She is involved with her school's student council and is the junior class vice president. She is a vice president for Imagination Players Troupe and the stage manager for their productions. She is the current vice chair for the Superintendent's Student Advisory Council. She was selected for the Youth Leadership Jacksonville class of 2019, and she is the historian for the school's National Honor Society and a member of SWAT, Beta, NAHS, and Chick-fil-A Leadership Academy. She uses all of these clubs to network around her community and volunteer with other organizations. She currently has 832 logged community service hours. She has worked with the Ronald McDonald House, and the Hugh O'Brien Youth Leadership, and started her own Students for Change Club to help students fix issues they see in the school and create a better atmosphere. She is an active member in her school and outside the community, balancing volunteer hours and her job at Chick-fil-A, as well as academics and extracurriculars. Congratulations, Abby. right. So our next winner is for the adult category, Charles Cedar, also from Orange Park High School. So an irreplaceable asset, Mr. Charles Cedar has been an invaluable volunteer for the Raider Band through the last 4 years. Always willing to help, Chuck lends himself to any capacity necessary when called upon. From concession stand work on football game days and weekends to gift wrapping in December to prop building, moving, fixing, and more, the Raider Band can always count on Chuck to be there to lend a helping hand. His countless hours of hard work every day, over 600 hours this past summer and fall alone, especially this season building 24 10-foot tall tree props for the marching band show, including weekends and evenings, has not gone unnoticed, and neither has his selflessness. With sincere thanks and gratitude, it is the pleasure of the Raider Band to award Mr. Charles Cedar the Outstanding Volunteer of the Year recognition. The help of Chuck and all other parent volunteers has led to this program's success and all it's achieved today and will continue to achieve for years to come. So congratulations, Charles. Our next winner is for the senior category, Pam Kapos from Keystone Heights Elementary School. They are proud to nominate her as the Outstanding School Volunteer. She began volunteering at Keystone Heights Elementary when her own son was in kindergarten and has now dedicated over 3 decades to Keystone Elementary, its students and faculty. Over the year, Mrs. Kapos has worked with all grade levels, K through 6, but currently devotes her time primarily to 4th grade. She is dedicated and loyal, to say the least, as she has faithfully volunteered 2 to 3 days a week and serves an average of 14 hours a week, assisting teachers and preparing students with the materials they need to learn and succeed. Ms. Kapos is a warm, familiar face to everyone who works and attends KHES. She embraces building relationships with students and provides sweet attention that students cannot help but gravitate towards. It is not unusual to witness a student walk into the classroom, spot Mrs. Kapos, and go to join her for an opportunity to read aloud and share details about his or her book. When a student has been absent and is missing assignments or needs to complete a vocabulary or spelling test, Ms. Kapos will work one-on-one with the student to make up his or her work. She gives of her time and enjoys assisting our teachers so they are able to maximize time spent on actual instruction and direct teaching and student learning. We truly feel blessed with Mrs. Kapos' support and dedication to Keystone Heights Elementary School. Congratulations. Me? Yeah, nice to meet you.
Thank you so much to you volunteers. Well done, Ms. Snyder. Okay, next is a check presentation to the Clay Education Foundation. Michaela Buchanan, Executive Director of the Education Foundation, and Missy Peters, Community First Credit Union. We like checks. Yeah. We like big checks.
Well, we aim to please here. Thank you for having us again for the second month in a row. We're always pleased to come. For those of you who may not know, the Clay Education Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit locally here in Clay County, and we support, the students and educators within our public schools. With that being said, we would not be able to do any of the work that we do without the thanks of our generous partners like Missy Peters and Lisa Ashworth behind me from the Community First Cares Foundation.
Thank you. So I want to start out by saying that I'm not going to sing, and you don't want it. So I'm a banker. I don't have that voice. But my name's Missy Peters. I'm the executive director of the Community First Cares Foundation. And, 6 years ago when the foundation was created, we were really born with the mission and the calling to create transformational change. And I really just want you to think about that for a second. Transformational change, what does that mean? We really want to make an impact in the lives of the people that we we touch. And, as a foundation that was really created from our credit union, and we were founded in education, we know that teachers are some of the most innovative people that we know, and that they have a lot of ideas of what they want to do in their classroom. And so that's why we're so proud tonight to be able to support Clay County Education Foundation's efforts in creating mini classroom grants to create that transformational change in our classrooms right here in Clay County. So tonight we're donating $5,000 to Clay County Education Foundation, and look forward to seeing all the amazing ideas that take place in the classroom. Thank you.
And I failed to introduce Lisa Ashworth, but you weren't on my cheat sheet here. But Lisa is president of the Rotary Club that I am a member of, an outstanding president. Looking forward to July 1st when she can be past president. Thank you so much. Now, are y'all coming back next month with another check? I mean, next month? Okay. Go ahead and put that on the agenda, Ms. Bush. One more check. Okay. Before we do the presenters, I had something else that I wanted to add to the agenda as a recognition. I want to read you a letter from the Florida Department of Education. Congratulations, dear Superintendent Davis. Just sit still. Congratulations on your participation in the Chief Executive Officer Leadership Development Program for Florida's District School Superintendents. It has been determined that you have now successfully completed this program and are eligible for the benefits connected to this accomplishment pursuant to Section 1001.476A Florida statutes. We commend you for your commitment to professional growth. The position of superintendent is a particularly challenging one in view of today's society. Florida has a number of special considerations that impact educational programs, and the dedication of learned, skilled leaders is crucial if we are to continue our path to excellence. Your involvement in rigorous learning projects will assist your district in its quest for continuous improvement. Again, we are pleased with your achievement and wish you well. Sincerely, Richard Cochran, Commissioner of Education. But what I want to add to this is the superintendent received a phone call yesterday. You didn't know I knew this. He received the highest score that the state has ever given. So I think we need to congratulate that brilliant superintendent about it.
Thank you. Through the chair, thank you so very much. I was blessed to be able to go through a 15-month program with many superintendents, a number of superintendents throughout the state, and I learned how to continue to grow, to improve teaching and learning, how to work collectively with and problem solve with staff members, with parents, constituents. So I'm glad to be able to take this opportunity to continue to learn and continue to grow for Clay County District Schools. So thank you, ma'am.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
We're proud of you. I said, I can embarrass him, it's okay. We were in cahoots. Okay. We want to brag. Okay. There were no presenters tonight. The school showcase. When you saw the cherry pickers from W.E. Cherry Elementary School? Well, now she is not going to play the drums. She's not going to sing. But this is the proud principal, Angie Whidden from W.E. Cherry with the student showcase. Wow.
Wait, no.
Wow. Wow.
No, it's not just me. There's a we in WEC. We got to bring J-Rod up here. Come on, Jared. I paid them off to come. You'll get your checks when I'm going out the door, I promise you. It's not from my personal account, Michelle. It's your checkbook. W Cherry is truly a special place. If you all haven't figured that out, then you haven't been in Clay County at all.
Amen.
Period. These people are amazing. Jared and I say all the time, we just have our names on the business card. They are the ones that get all the work done for us. And the day that we quit and we stop remembering that is the day that we will resign. I'll walk away. The day that I think that my job is harder, they do a much harder job than I do every single day. You just see my name in the clay today if we get in trouble. That's what happened. So this year's been a tough year at Cherry. We lost one of our own at the beginning of the year, and we lost two of our team members' children this year, one being last week, and then the week before that, we lost a parent. So it's been a tough year. So we focus a lot on social emotional learning, not only for us, but for our students. Through Jared's help, big time, we have partnered with Right Path to bring in counseling service for our students, and YCC, Jared? And YCC Youth Crisis Center comes in and works with two of our classrooms every single week, because we can see a change in our population, but you'll never see a change in the heart and love of these people and for us, and that we have for those children. We're truly champions. That's the way I look at us. So tonight, we're going to bring you a little slideshow. You can go ahead and start it up. Okay, wait a minute. No. We're not going to do a slideshow. You guys are going to get a long slideshow later on. We're going to do something different.
I'll be the last one standing, 2 hands in the air, I'm a champion.
What is W Cherry's greatest strength?
Love for our children, our students. We have a lot of love for them.
I think W Cherry's greatest strength is our sense of community. W Cherry's greatest strength is how we all come together as a family and work together amongst ourselves.
W.E. Cherry greatest strength to my family has been the contribution it's made, making us feel like it's not just an elementary school that my boys go to, but it's extended family. The teachers here really care, and it shows in my kids' education, the way they feel when they come to class and how they always happy to come to school. And being a military spouse, it just makes me feel comfortable.
W. Cherry's greatest strength is, without a doubt, the people of this school.
I think W. Cherry's greatest strength is the way this school builds morale.
I would say W.E. Cherry's greatest strengths would be the teachers. They really care for the kids.
I think W. Cherry's greatest strength is how every teacher is dedicated to having a positive impact on every child.
The teachers, rather than just teaching normally, they really get involved in what they're teaching, so it's memorable too.
I think W. Cherry's greatest strength is the ability to teach the whole student, no matter where they come from, what they've gone through. They know they're safe here, and they're more willing to learn because of that.
W. Cherry's greatest strength is Angie Whitten. She makes the biggest difference at this school because she cares, and it just trickles down to teachers, to the staff. We care for each other, and then the students trickles for the teachers caring for the students on a different level than all the other amazing schools in our district.
Okay, so I was not allowed to see the second part of the slideshow. I give all that credit to Brandy Rodriguez, right there, our curriculum coach. And she said she was hiding a secret surprise for me, and I really appreciate that. I didn't know about that. And yes, Jared was wearing clothes. That was a costume in the picture. I know he probably wishes his dress looked like that, but that is truly a costume. I should have put the picture of him up. So we thought we'd bring you something a little different because that's exactly what we are. We're different. And it's no secret where we want to be. We went higher last year. We were 1% away from being an A. We have all intentions of making that happen this year because we are the best school in Clay County, and it's because of those people right there. Thank you all.
Thank you. Miss Whitten, can I say something through the chair? Through the chair. Let me tell you. Let me say this. Through the chair, first of all, this pack never goes in isolation by themselves. They're always rolling deep. 15, 20 in such great spirit. But all this has contributed to a family atmosphere. We talk about leadership, and Jared, yes, you're part of it. And I do believe that you, man. There's no costume, right? At the end of the day, I appreciate your creativity, your ability to be bold, but more importantly, your heart. Your heart is why you have individuals who can be with their families and friends this evening. They're here to support you and show your sense of care for you in the environment that you've created. When we talk about, you think I don't sleep at night, there's another person that's texting me around 1 o'clock in the morning about what they've done in the community, and it's Angie Whitten. So thank you for what you've done. Thank you for what you continue to do. We appreciate your leadership.
Thank you. I told them they could all leave afterwards, so we're going to vacate the building.
And Miss Milton, I have you. I got you.
I'm just wondering if Miss Whitten got her office back.
Yes,
I'm wondering, is there a principal's office, or are you still at a desk? Mm-hmm. Only principal in the county to give up her office. That's right.
You W.E. Cherry people, you are amazing. And okay.
They did a good job tonight. Yeah, all night.
Okay. We got 3 more.
On Patterson. Okay, so 5 on Patterson.
Okay.
It's okay.
I'll give you a few minutes to vacate.
Trouble.
Unless y'all just really want to stay to the end of the board meeting. They never cease to amaze me. I mean, okay. All right. This is the last call for comment cards. If there's anyone who wants to fill out a card, please do it now. This is the last call. Okay, we will go to presentations from the audience. These are our public comments. Each speaker will be allowed 3 minutes. The chair does have discretion to extend if necessary. And one of the speakers indicated that they may need a little bit extra time. So I'll use my judgment when the time comes. Okay. All right, the first is Stanley Finning.
Good evening, Stanley Fanning. First of all, I'd like to...
If you'd state your name and address, please, for the record.
Yes, ma'am, my address is protected. My name is Stanley Fanning, and I'd like to take the time to thank our elected superintendent for the time he spent with me this month on the telephone discussing some things, and I believe we're going to be able to come to an agreement, understanding that when the workshop agenda, the agenda workshop agenda, does that make sense, is published on the website, that the attachments and the supporting documents are going to be linkable so that the public will have the same access to the documents that the board members will have prior to the meeting, so that we can come and be informed. And it sounds like, if I'm correct, through the chair to the superintendent, that that's going to be the case.
Mr. Davis, do you want to respond to that?
Yes, ma'am. Through the chair, Mr. Finley, Finning, working through legal to make certain that we have all the ducks in a row to make sure that we are putting that in the right direction. So once we get the final decision, then we'll be able to move in the right direction. We'll keep you informed either way.
Very good.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir. And then I guess in follow up to some things that happened last month, I handed Chief Wagner a packet for your information, and if you'd make those copies available to the board members this month, because I want to come back next month and follow up on my promise to forgive Ms. Karakis. But at the time that I do that, I want to be able to do that without being interrupted. So I want to be able to understand, and I'll be able to understand what's allowed to be said in a limited public forum such as this. So I've presented you with some materials to share, distribute to the board, and if you'd include those in the minutes, Mr. Elected Superintendent, that'd be awesome. And I think that's all I have. I'll let you have the last 57 seconds to enjoy the rest of the evening.
Okay, the next speaker is Mary Ann Hanson.
Hi, I'm Marianne Hansen. I'm at 2210 Salt Myrtle here in Fleming Island. I'm a parent to a kindergartner, third grader, and fifth grader at Patterson Elementary. I want to thank the board members that came out to our school last week. We appreciate the kind of the heads up to know what's going on with the zoning issues. And I know that rezoning any school is a difficult decision to make. And I just have a couple points that I want to just put out there. First of all, the vote that was put up on the screen and published in the Clay today wasn't accurate because the choices were all very similar. And it was like, well, this doesn't apply because this is here, and it didn't give us a full picture. So I don't want you to take that number, like 75% of parents are like ready to roll. Based on the choices that were there, you can make statistics and multiple choice questions look kind of strange. So take a look at that. The other thing is considering the rezoning of new construction in Green Cove Springs to Fleming Island Elementary as opposed to established neighborhoods that have been in Patterson for a long time. Some of those new neighborhoods have never darkened the doorsteps of Patterson, and yet they're going to push out some volunteers and kids that have been there a long time. I've got a sixth grader coming up, and then behind him there will be a couple more, and nobody wants to go. But the other thing I want to present is if we have to rezone those areas north and west of 17 to Fleming Island, because that's the best thing for the county, I'd ask that you let the students that are currently there to age out of the school if possible. So the families can make the best decisions for their families as to when would be the best time to move their children or keep them at Patterson. So, thank you.
Okay. The next speaker is Jacqueline Krogel. Krogel. Yes. I got it.
Sorry,
Okay.
my handwriting's not very good. I'm usually on the computer. Good afternoon, or good evening. My name is Jacqueline Krogel. I'm here to speak on the Patterson rezoning issue as well.
Name and address for the record, please.
Jacqueline Krogel, 749 Eagle Cove Drive in Fleming Island. I am a parent to a third grader and a kindergartner here at Patterson, but we are not within the boundaries of the proposed rezoning. But I'm here to speak about all the other kids that are affected by this change. Patterson is a close-knit family community. It's not just a school where kids go to school and go home. I mean, everybody, they do extracurricular activities, their friends are there, their teachers are there. That's a second home for them and a safe environment. I understand, I mean, I was at the town hall last week and it was great. It was very informative. The numbers showed that changes are probably going to need to be made, and we understand that and realize that. But we're here today to protect those kids that are currently going to be affected. So K through 5, I know you mentioned that sixth graders are protected, and I agree, that's great. But fifth graders are going to be torn apart. Like their friend, I mean, that's an age that's just devastating to kids to be ripped apart and to go to a new school, a brand new school, brand new kids and all that stuff. As well as I asked my kindergartner, I'm like, what would you feel? How would you feel if, your friends were taken away or your friends had to move to a different school? And she's like, that would be so sad. And my third grader's like, that's not fair. So what can we do? Can we work on phasing out this or phasing in this approach a little bit differently to protect the kids currently there? Have a cutoff. Let's say once we start this whole process, have a cutoff at kindergarten that nobody else in those areas can go. Change the bus systems to Fleming Island Elementary. That way, there will be families that have to go to Fleming Island Elementary for the bus system, so that will open up some seats. But those kids that really want to stay, those families that want to continue their education through Patterson, if we could try to work a way to let that happen, that would be fabulous. I think everybody would be happy to let those kids and not disrupt their education and their well-being for the next couple of years. So thank you for listening. I hope we can work out a compromise.
Okay. Patricia Burr.
Good evening. My name's Patricia Burr, and I live at 1489 Wild Iris Lane, a 6-month resident in Pace Island, 25-year resident from Lake Asbury, so I am a Clay County taxpayer. 32-year teacher in Duval County, gray hair, Duval County. And I just was present at the meeting last week at Patterson, and I had called the superintendent's office the next morning because we did have that vote at the end of the meeting. And the PowerPoint presentation is online at Patterson if anybody wants to look at it. I just had a concern. I had a principal years ago that said you can make statistics say anything you want them to. And so when I called the superintendent's office the next morning and spoke to Mrs. Bush, I said that I was concerned that that vote was going to show up somewhere because it said that 74% of those of us who were present were in favor of choice one, which was to be moved to Fleming Island Elementary. But our choices were moved to Fleming Island Elementary this year, moved to Fleming Island Elementary in 2 years, moved to Fleming Island Elementary but leave the fifth graders at school, or moved to Fleming Island Elementary but don't allow some of the special assignments. If you go to the PowerPoint, our choices were changing the students from Pace Island to Fleming Island Elementary, changing the students who live in Magnolia Point, Magnolia West, and the new Magnolia West Phase 2 to Fleming Island Elementary. And the third option, no, that was the third option. Anyway, we didn't vote on any of those. We only voted on when we were going to go. Okay, I realize that changes need to be made, but that night at the meeting, there was a lot of honest dialogue, and the superintendent did mention when everyone said, yes, move Magnolia Point back to their side of the neighborhood. And he said, well, I couldn't give you that choice because I know that's the one you'd pick. Well, but that was one of the ones that he gave us on the PowerPoint. So I just wanted to say before, there was a lot of, now you know I volunteer one whole day a week at Patterson, and I will wherever my grandchildren are, because I have a love for kids and I have a dire love for my grandchildren. But I want to be honest. Magnolia Point is much further away than Pace Island. We can get to school in 3 minutes. That's even observing the speed limit. So there was something in the newspaper that Mr. Fossey did. His study said that there were sidewalks and you could ride your bike or walk to school. Well, it's an hour and 10-minute walk from Pace Island if you live at the gate, which nobody does. And so I wouldn't send my 2 grandchildren on that sidewalk along 17 to school. So it's just, oh, my time's up, isn't it? Sorry. Can I have 10 seconds?
Yeah, absolutely.
My third concern was that the new neighborhoods, they were kept mentioning Governor's Park. Is that Governor's Creek, the big new Nocatee of, okay. Yes. There was a lot of mention about they're going to get 3 new schools and everything, and 5 to 6 years down the road, there's going to be a school on 315. Somebody needs to start planning ahead, because they're planning ahead for the Nocatee development that's nothing but trees now. But you haven't planned for the people who exist here right this very minute. So we're going to go wherever you send us, and we're going to support wherever you send us. But before any more, you called it gerrymandering, any more of that happens, fix it before you do anything new. Thank you.
Okay. The next speaker is Brooke Nation.
Brook Nation, 1708 Bridal Turn Court. Thank you for coming to Patterson last week for the town hall meeting. We really appreciated being able to get more information. Mr. O'Brien, Mrs. Schumacher, I'm not going to embarrass you. I'm sorry, I promise. I wanted to speak a little bit about the volunteerism at Patterson and the PFA specifically. If you are in this room and you are zoned for Patterson, will you please stand up? Or you live in the 3 affected neighborhoods? Okay. If you have volunteered your time, many hours of your time, please remain standing. Okay, so all of these women live in the 3 neighborhoods. Our entire PFA board for the next year is zoned for in these 3 neighborhoods. I understand this isn't happening next year, but the year after, it's going to be the same people, because this is the heart and soul of Patterson Elementary. We talked a little bit last week about the funds that we have raised. You said you would send the Chromebooks to the new school. That's not the point. The point is that we have raised those funds. If these 3 neighborhoods are rezoned, Patterson's not going to have as much money coming in. If we have money to throw around, provide Chromebooks anyway. Don't make the PFA buy them. Everyone talked a little bit about the skewed vote and it was in the Clay today. The voting actually closed. I tried to vote and it said this poll is closed. It was capped. I'm not sure why, but and then we also talked a little bit last week about the social emotional well-being of these students, and you said you kept harping on community, community, community. Community is not defined by the neighborhood that you live in. Community are the people that you go to school with, the relationships you've made with your peers, with your teachers, with the administrators. I was the recipient of the Patterson's Outstanding Volunteer of the Year. I have a close relationship with those administrators, with our faculty. I feel comfortable speaking to anyone. My daughter feels comfortable speaking to anyone. She spoke to you last week at the meeting. Thank you for letting them speak. I had a really long speech prepared last week, but I can't do it now. So thank you for your time. I do hope that we can work towards a better solution than taking these children out of the home that they have known for so long. Many generations of families attending Patterson Elementary. Thank you.
And next is Katie Dean.
I'm Katie Dean, 1597 Royal Fern Lane. Thank you for coming last week and listening to us. Just wanted to find out, there was a question that was asked last week that was not presented. I know multiple people asked it and it was never actually asked at the meeting, even though it was written on the card. How come you all are giving a transient communities, 2 different transient communities, one that sends 2 busloads of kids to our school that lives in 32043, 10 miles away from Patterson, priority over a community that's been established that goes to Patterson and has been for 20 years? Thank you.
Okay. We don't normally respond, or sometimes we'll get into it, but Mr. Davis said that night at the meeting, and we were sitting there listening, this is not going to happen next year, and there will be a lot of conversations between Mr. Davis, Mr. Kemp, Mr. Fossa, and I'm sure they're going to hear from a lot of board members individually over the next year. So everything is off the table right now. So
Okay, thank you.
that we will be doing a lot of discussing before this comes to this board for a vote. No. We have no idea. We love redistricting. No, we don't. No, that's a dirty word. Okay. Next is Rebecca Smith.
Is that the end of your Patterson Elementary?
That's the end of Patterson Elementary.
Before Becky Smith speaks, I'd like to say something to address. Ms. Smith, do you mind? Thank you. Point of order, Madam Chair. I actually had this as my closing comments, and I'd like to just address it now while the Patterson parents are here, because I fear you're probably going to leave. And I apologize for not being at last week's meeting. We were on vacation.
She was in Hawaii, and she just missed the meeting to go to Hawaii. Come on.
In advance, my husband's birthday, and I begged the superintendent to please postpone. And but this affects my constituents. This is my district, even though we represent the whole county and they're all our constituents. I just felt that I really should have been there, and I actually prepared something. So I'd like to share this with you and our board. And I know how difficult rezoning is. My own neighborhood was rezoned 3 different times in a 5-year period. When we moved into our neighborhood, we were zoned for Doctors Inlet Elementary, then Fleming Island, and then Swimming Pen. So, but I really, truly believe that we need to prioritize our neighborhood schools. And I've shared this with Mr. Davis. I don't believe for 1 minute that we should ever be busing students in. I'm 100% against that. And we will talk about it, but it's not anything that we're voting on anytime soon. But I just wanted to go on record with that. And really what I plan on bringing to the board next month after giving this a lot of thought, and I guess I would let you know now. Dr. Kemp, I owe this to you because you brought this up last year with us. We have 43 acres on Fleming Island for a junior high that you had talked about creating a K-8. And we don't have the capacity for a junior high, but we do have capacity to get permission to go forward, hopefully, to build a K-8. And we would alleviate a lot of portables in the district. We would solve this redistricting problem. It would alleviate overcrowding at all of these schools. And also, it would allow us to recapture those junior high students who've gone to the charter school down the road. We would be retaining FTE dollars for those students coming back because our junior high students are bused to Green Cove or Lakeside. So I would like to ask our board, and I will put it on the agenda for next month, that we start the conversation on how we could go about looking into this before redistricting becomes an issue. We should not be busing students from another district in to a neighborhood school and moving neighborhood students. And so we have to look at a solution. And if we could do a K-8 in this community, that solves not only a junior high issue, but overcrowding at all of these schools and alleviating portables. So it's something I'd like the district, Dr. Legutko, take a breath. I'd like the district to start looking at it. It might have to be something we have to bond out, but the growth is taking place and we have to be planning. You're absolutely right. We can't sit by and just start redistricting everybody and everything's overcrowded and eventually we're gonna have to bring in more portables and we don't want to do that. Okay. So I apologize for interrupting and not saving it to the end, but I wanted these parents to know how I feel about it and that I hear you. I'm going to be your voice.
Okay.
Thank you.
And the other thing is we already own property on 315, the back road to the fairgrounds. And we will, it's going to take time, but we need to, and I know that you've looked at this and I know the superintendent's looked at it, but I don't believe into rushing into anything overnight. But I think we need to look at the K-8 possibility. Right. We need to look at the possibility of building an elementary on 315. That would certainly take care of Magnolia West, and the other subdivisions that are going in along whatever that other road is.
We have a workshop on the books to discuss all this
at the end of the month. It's going to take time. It's not something that we can decide, but
we have to start the conversation. We need to start preparing.
We are studying, but I want you parents to know there's nobody on this board who wants to move your kids right now.
Or superintendent.
Or the superintendent.
And he can recommend, we don't have to approve.
and he only recommends, the school board votes on it.
Through the chair, intentional, planning on my part. Just kidding. She hadn't planned for a year, but through the chair, she's been a very strong advocate. So, as I said in the meeting the other night, it's never an attractive conversation. But as superintendent, I'm not going to sit on the pillow and not have the conversation and sit on the sidelines. And not have the conversation. So I think it's important. And I came truly as a problem solver to be able to have the conversation with the community. So I think we're moving in the right direction, and I look forward to our analysis that I've asked my team through Ms. Karakis to figure out if we can do the K-8, because I do believe it's a part of something that would be special.
We're going to have to study our options. And for those of you who were at the meeting the other night, you saw the numbers. We can hang on, for maybe a year or two, we'll by the skin of our teeth, but we want buy-in from the parents because y'all saw the numbers. We have to do something at some point, but not today and not August. Okay? And I think
thanks for staying.
We have to say about that.
Yes, ma'am.
That's what Forrest Gump said, and that's all I've got to say about that. Okay? All right, the next speaker, Betsy Rager. No, wait a minute.
Sorry, Becky. Welcome back.
Rebecca Smith. I already put your card up. I did not see you sitting there. I am so glad to see you. It is so glad to have you back at the board meetings.
It's good to be back. Thank you for all that y'all do for us. However, long as I got air in the body, I'm going to stand up for my drivers. Even though I'm not a county worker no longer, in my heart, the kids deserve the best. I would appreciate, Mr. Davis, you're in negotiations now. Your team is in negotiations. I would like to see, it's open book, I would like to see that chart changed on wages. Schedule chart. It's not being changed since it was invented. Think about that. We got a driver that's been here 14 years and making poverty wages. That's unacceptable. I'm a county resident. I want better for our people. This is a reflection on us, and I know we can do better. Mr. Kemp pulls his hair out. He only got so much money to go. He got all these schools to build, all these communities coming in, building. Where are you going to get money? That's another question you ask yourself. I know where y'all at. We got to come up with the money. You figure during the period of time, stock market crashed, housing market crashed. What collecting taxes? Meanwhile, you people, status quo was at the table when we bargained. Status quo, no raise, no increases. Now, right now, transportation's in the world hurt. They're dropping like clouds. They said, I can go somewhere else and make more money. We hiring people one day and they quitting the next. Got to stop the bleeding. We got to get our children to school on time and stop stressing the drivers that you do have out by double back, triple back. We got to do better. Got to do better. That's all I got to say. But thank y'all for all that y'all do for the district. I really mean that, Mr. Davis. Ms. Stutter, the board. God bless.
Thank you, Becky. Next, Betsy Rager.
Betsy Rager, my address is on file. I have joys and concerns tonight. I'm speaking partially as a Clay County citizen and partially as your friendly union thug. First, I want to say thank you, Mr. Davis, for your leadership in resolving a very contentious situation with law enforcement in this county. You reached out, you prioritized student and safety and staff safety, and I'm proud of you. I'm proud for you to be our superintendent. Thank you. I want to remind you all that I am first and foremost an ESC mama and an ESC teacher, and nothing gets me more riled up than rights of ESC kiddos being violated. So this week I became aware of a high school in this county that is allowing parents to observe self-contained classrooms of children that are not their own children. The parent in question has visited at least 6 self-contained classrooms and attempted to gain information about other students, some of our most vulnerable students, conferencing with these teachers afterwards, asking questions about student academic performance, behaviors, strategies, accommodations. So the teachers brought this concern to me. I contacted the district, and I was told that it was the parent's right under IDEA to observe classrooms. So I know a few attorneys. I called my attorney and asked if this was true. And this is what she told me. Parents do have a right to participate fully in their child's IEP. That does not guarantee or entitle parents to observe classrooms that their children are not in. A parent's opportunity to observe those classrooms is technically limited to your discretion for the limited purpose of establishing IEP. So if a parent wants to see if a certain classroom would be a good fit for their child, it might be appropriate for them to have limited access for a limited amount of time, but they don't get to go shopping in our schools. Neither the statute, well, let me tell you this first. The question was posed to the U.S. Department of Education, Office of Special Education and Rehabilitative Services. This was their response. One of the key purposes of the IDEA amendments of '97 is to strengthen and expand the roles of parents in the identification, evaluation, and educational placement of their child. Neither the statute, and this is the USDOE-OSEP speaking, neither the statute nor the regulations implementing the IDEA provide a general entitlement for parents or their professional representatives to observe their children in any current classroom or proposed educational placement. They don't even have a right to insist on observing their children in an unlimited fashion. My son was an ESC student at this very school. He graduated 3 years ago, and now he is a U.S. Army soldier. Thanks to those amazing teachers that worked here, that stood up for him, that advocated for him. But if I thought for 1 minute that you were allowing other parents to observe him and ask questions about him, that's a whole nother level of trouble.
Okay.
As ESE parents, we have the right and the obligation to protect our children's privacy, and so do you. I hope you'll look at this.
Okay. Ms. Rager, would you do me a favor? Make sure that Mr. McCauley gets the information. He's aware? Okay. And Mr. Davis is now aware. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. The last card is Nirvana. Well, next to last card, excuse me. Nirvana Jeanette. If you would just
Before
state
my
your
time
name and address,
starts,
if you'd state your name and address for the record, please.
Yes, ma'am. My name's Nirvana Jeanette. My address is 3991 Pinta Road, Middleburg, Florida. I was wanting before my time started to give you all these. They're divvied up into a package for each of y'all.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Again, my name's Nirvana Jeanette. I am a 9/11 disabled vet. I was also at a certain point in my life an internationally recognized social justice and family advocate in regards to medical and birth rights.
And let me say this. Mm-hmm. I'm going to give you some extra time, so just proceed on. Okay.
Got a little military for this stuff.
You bet. And thank you for your service.
Thank you. I'm also a Messianic Jew, and this comes into this is relevant later, as well as me being a veteran. Sorry. A Messianic Jew is somebody that believes Jesus is their savior, but we still observe Jewish tradition. I am here. I have been given a crash course in public schools because my ex-husband, just a moment. Step outside.
Romano, will you step with her? Mr. Romano?
Would you?
Thank you.
They'll watch her.
Thank you. I'm aware of the charter school, public school, all of that. Frankly, I don't care.
Right.
It's my big thing is I care about my kids. We never went to a public school before because we were military, so we homeschooled for consistent education. I'm here because, sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
There's been corruption, blatant law breaking, such as the Sunshine Law towards families. ESC children, their rights have been pushed aside. I'm here representing many families to bring awareness of families that have cancer. There's been deaths in their families currently.
Excuse me, Ms. Jeanette, what school do your kids go to?
The youngest three go to St. John's Classical Academy.
Okay.
The charter school.
The charter school.
It was supposed to be a perfect fit for us because we've only ever done classical model. So it was supposed to be good. Okay, so I'm going to go through, read real fast. Families are afraid to say anything because Dr. Williams has threatened to put disciplinary action on their other children's record. They are afraid to say anything because of the people that are on the board, such as the sheriff. I'm like, are we going to end up with 20 million tickets or in jail? And then I know there's state attorney and all that. I've been encouraging people to go talk with Miss McMillan. To fast forward from my own, just let you all know, there are 4 families that are currently trying to lawyer up. I know there's a federal case that has been served to the school. I know another federal case that one parent is trying to do against the school. I had an anxiety. Okay, so 7 of September, I emailed the teachers letting them know that we observe high holy days. Fast forward, 26 September, I had an anxiety attack at an open house because there were so many people, hence this is not easy. After that, I found out that the 6th grade teachers, principal, and vice principal were pulling my children out, asking many questions, personal questions. They were pulling them out of class, asking them questions.
Like what kind of questions?
Like personal history, like as far as me and my medical history, their dad's medical history.
Really? Okay.
Yes. I have here, for example, on the report, the child service worker was not happy, to put it very politely, that she got this call. And here's one of the things that was noted. Last week during open house, the mother had a panic attack. The mother took her children into a random, this is the report from whomever from the school reported me. The mother took her and the children into a random teacher's classroom, stating she just needed a minute. The mother was fanning herself. It is not clear what brought on the panic attack. The situation was really weird. The mother is believed to be using drugs. The mother just doesn't seem all there. This is how I was that night, except it was worse. I was in a room by myself with my children, and two teachers walked in. Also, as far as the high holy days, what was reported was the children, the mother tells them not to do homework on Wednesday due to their religion. That's not what I got reported, because I wasn't allowing my children to do work on a high holy day Sabbath. I also got snide remarks from the teachers. Okay, sorry, okay. I'm just fast forwarding, there's a whole bunch. So after that, I requested a meeting with Dr. Williams. She met with me. I met with Dr. Williams about what was said about me, about our personal information, being that me and their father are vets. I contacted Wounded Warrior Project and other organizations that were willing to come in and teach them for free on how to handle situations like this instead of just calling child services. I was told no, and I was met with hostility. All this is in the emails that you're seeing. I then requested a meeting with all parties involved, including the sixth grade team, the vice principal and principal. I was denied. I got into an email argument about my daughter's education on 10 December through 13 December. And I told them I'm seeing a lot of I can'ts to help my daughter. I firmly believe if you aren't part of the solution, then you are part of the problem. Brainstorming for solutions so she succeeds would probably be a better approach. That was not received well. The last day, I received an email then after that banned me from school campus. I received phone calls from teachers, or staff, I should say staff, letting me know what was being said about me, that I was crazy, that I am obviously unstable, the list went on. And this was more than one person, and that apparently it spread like wildfire. I also asked why I was banned, and they said because I broke security, and I said I gave the events of exactly what happened. I was doing what I was told, and they did not present the video evidence that would exonerate me. They would not listen. They have tape, they video everything, and they would not do it. I had a third-party professional when Dr. Williams finally would meet with me. She is a court-appointed specialist in so many areas, Miss Antonia Carter, it's crazy. Dr. Williams said in front of her that I would be allowed back on campus the following semester, and then we would work on a plan for I could be put back immediately or come back on campus immediately. I never heard back from Dr. Williams. She wouldn't do a meeting. On 25th of February, there was a child that said to my daughter, "Ooh, you touched a Jew." I reported this. I talked to Miss O'Neill. We went back and forth. It went from 25th of November to 5 April. Miss O'Neill said that the sixth grade team teacher, I'll just quote it, O'Neill lied to me saying I spoke, this is her speaking, I spoke with the sixth grade team to ensure student apologized, ... I am confident that I handled this matter appropriately, and I will not continue to rehash it. I couldn't even get the name of a teacher that was present when the boy apologized. Instead of dealing with O'Neill, I went ahead and called the mom 6 weeks later because I knew her. She was very admirable on how she handled another incident outside of school. Turns out she wasn't even made aware of the incident, and there was no teacher present during the apology. 10 March, on the email, I requested numerous parent-teacher conferences with the 6th grade team. To date, they still have refused to give me a date. 3 April, thinking I was allowed to go back on campus, I went because it's the following semester. Cato confronted me in front of my daughter, my youngest. Miss Jeanette, you are not allowed on campus. Yes, I am. Who said? Dr. Williams. I went back to speak with Dr. Williams that day. Cato came out saying Williams never said that and Williams would not meet with me. I had to again stop Cato from talking.
Miss Jeanette.
Yes, I'm sorry.
I understand the pain you're going through, and just scanning through this, and I'm sure we all want time to read through these emails, but Mr. Davis, would you like to?
Yes, ma'am, through the chair. I have Ms. Karen McMillan, who leads our work with School Choice, who's right behind you. She'll be able to connect with you this evening to talk about.
I've spoken with her.
Oh, okay. And then also Jamie Pearson. So they'll be able to connect with you this evening and talk about, what availabilities that we have and we do not have. As you know, it's not a district-managed school, but anything that you believe that's a part that's any type of violation, please let us know. We'll work collectively with that school. At the same time with you as well. So, and again, Ms. McMillan can make herself available right now for you if you need to.
Okay.
The law calls the charter schools public schools, but we really don't know too much about what's going on at the charter schools. But I think Ms. McMillan will be able to help you, and then I'm sure Superintendent Davis will be responsive. This is new territory for us because we don't really know.
But they do have a board of directors. Have you spoken with their board of directors at all?
There's emails.
Diana Hutchinson's refused to meet with me.
And she's the chairman of their board.
She's the president of the board of directors.
Right.
What about other board members?
According to the handbook, I'm supposed to talk to her.
Oh, okay.
I've read that handbook a million times.
Well, I understand your concern, and
may I finish the one about the Guardian program and the gun?
Yes, if you would, and then we'll wrap it up. Okay.
I didn't know about what's called the Guardian program. Mm-hmm. I didn't think guns were allowed at all unless they're in uniform. I found out after I was banned that the only person that would come to me was the guardian. I found out military trained, combat trained. I knew something was funny, but because of a tire, but I didn't think guns were allowed, so I dismissed it until someone reassured me, no, this person does have a gun. This is the only person they would send to my vehicle after I was banned. And they know I'm a disabled vet. When they went and asked my children a ton of personal questions, they know this. So how could I not take that as a threat to my safety? Especially this is the woman that yelled back to people, oh, here comes the crazy lady. So, and then also I was told by Dr. Williams that my children would always be escorted. After I emailed Dr. Williams asking if this person did in fact have a concealed weapon, my children were no longer escorted, and you saw how little my youngest is. She was allowed to walk across the parking lot by herself. I have video evidence of this as well. My children, we were disenrolled on 26 April, and then 2 days later, my children were re-enrolled. there's a whole, but that email about all of that was in there. So basically I asked for clarification about why I was banned. I still am not allowed to go on there. I can't attend my 6th graders graduation or my 4th graders AB honor roll. So that's it. I yield. The biggest thing, or actually, no, I don't yield. The last thing I do want to say is I do want to handle this. I don't know how it's done as far as district level. I'm getting a crash course in politics when it comes to education. Okay. A lot of families are completely skipping the county and going straight to state because I've tried myself, and they have. Lawyers won't take on this case because it's so high profile because of who's on the board of directors for the charter school.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, thank you very much for bringing this to our attention, and I'm sure that we will all read through this, and Mr. Bickner may be getting a good education on charter schools and the rules and laws, because we certainly don't know, so we're counting on you. Okay.
Mr. Davis, I'd like to ask that if our district has the ability to look into this, or at least send it to the state. It sounds like there's already a federal investigation going on. You need to bring your children back to the public school system. Bring your kids back.
We're formally requesting a state investigation. A number of us are requesting it.
Okay.
Can I have one question? I have one question for her. She said something about your children were enrolled, then taken out, then re-enrolled?
Yes, the last email on there, my children, I was told, on 26 April, my children were disenrolled. I asked why. They said it was because of my behavior. I asked for specific cited incidents. O'Neill said there will be no discussion. This is text, or this is all email. No discussion will be held regarding this. 2 days later, and I asked who made this decision. 2 days later, Williams messaged me, and I don't know if I have that one. I can get that one in there for you. 2 days later, I received an email from Williams letting me know, upon review, the decision has been rescinded. The lady that I'm talking with, who's an advocate for education advocate, she said she's wondering if this is an FTE funding issue because of so many children have been getting booted or have left. I can't tell you the number of families that have just straight up left because they're scared.
Okay. Thank you. This will be looked into, and Mr. Bittner and Mr. Davis, Ms. McWilliams, we'll see what we can do. Thank you for bringing it to our attention.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, I do have one card left that they wanted to address, item C4. So before we move to adopt the consent agenda, I would like to ask David Bishop. You indicated you wanted to speak on C4, and I'd like to do that before we adopt the consent agenda.
Thank you very much for taking a few moments. I just have to say something. My name is David Bishop. My address is 1559 Beecher Lane, Orange Park, Florida. I am a virtual school teacher. I've had the privilege of teaching at several of our schools. You guys have one of the hardest jobs in the world. That is, parents, I'm a parent, I understand. That is a difficult thing that you're dealing with. The lady that just spoke, that just breaks my heart that she's dealing with that. That being said, I'm going to say, bring something lighter, a little bit lighter here.
Okay.
On the agenda, you have to approve the changing or the purchase of a new platform from Edgenuity for Clay Virtual Academy. I wanted to take just a few moments, number one, to thank you for taking the time to evaluate it, look at it. We as a school, and I know I'm kind of speaking for a lot of our teachers, we have had the opportunity to work with this program, and we feel that it is going to make serious difference for the education of our students. That is, of course, what we're here for, is to educate our students. Currently, if you are not familiar with our virtual school, we use what's known as Florida Virtual, which is a very good system. However, Edgenuity puts the teacher back in the forefront of the classroom, which allows the student to be the primary person and the primary focus. Whereas Florida Virtual is a good system, Edgenuity is a better system because it's going to allow us, the teacher, to take back our classroom, and it's going to allow us to work with our students, not in a canned situation, but as an individual person. That being what it is, there are a number of things. Superintendent Davis, I know that you've probably already gotten a bullet point of this, but I just wanted to stand up to the board and just let you know that I'm a social studies teacher. I represent my team happily, pleasantly. We have had an opportunity to review the program. We are excited about it. We have actually promoted it to our students. We have students who, I don't like school. I don't want to deal with school. 5 minutes later, I'm really looking forward to trying this. I really want to do this. This program is designed for an online student. It is designed for the, dare I say it, the short attention span. It's going to allow the teachers to work with the student in an environment that's going to be very student-friendly. So with the 1 second I have left, I just want to thank the board for your consideration of approving this particular program purchase. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bishop.
It's good to see you again, Mr. Bishop.
Okay. Next is the adoption of the consent agenda. There were no items pulled to discussion, so I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll move approval.
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Kirikas, second by Ms. Bullock. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Motion carries 5-0.
Mine didn't come up to vote, did yours? Oh, there it is.
It just came up.
After, in our vote, I'd like to mention Proclamation 19-14, promoting National School Nurse Week, which will be observed May 6 through 12, 2019. In staying with our proclamation in honor of school nurses, I would also like to share that our very own Chris Reeby was just today honored by the Florida School Health Association as their 2019 School Nursing Supervisor of the Year. Ms. Reeby is the Coordinator of Nursing Services for our district, a new position that works closely in strengthening and supporting our school clinics and medically fragile students, along with being a primary member of the mental health wellness leadership for the county. And we need to just say congratulations, Ms. Reeby. This is wonderful.
That's awesome.
Very good. Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
we are unclear as to whether it was Ms. Bola or Ms. Bullock that seconded.
It was
Thank you.
Kirikas and Bullock.
That's correct. Thank you.
Okay. I put it on my cheat sheet that I give back to Ms. Bush, so she'll have it. Okay, I got you. I've got you covered. Okay, next is the CCEA update, Renali Paiva, and I want to say welcome back, Renali Paiva. She's been out of commission for a while, and it looks like you have recovered very good, very well.
I think so.
No pain?
Just no pain.
You're back to your...
My back is good.
Very good.
I had a very good surgeon. So
Very good. Well,
I hated him for 4 weeks, but
yeah.
He told me I was going to hate him, so that was all good.
But I tell you what, we're so glad to see you back.
Thank you.
Back in the world with us.
Thank you. Renali Paiva, President of CCEA. Well, I want to start with the legislative session. I see our legislators have again chosen not to reward teachers with a salary adjustment, but has again voted to continue with the unjust bonus scheme. Again, almost 10% of my bargaining unit is being left out. I have to admit that I am disheartened that our administration, principals, and classroom teachers are not outraged that their colleagues that they work with every day are not eligible for this bonus. I think privately they're outraged, but I don't think they're calling Senator Bradley and Representative Cummings. They don't hear this from our principals. They don't hear this from our colleagues who are classroom teachers, with the realization that 10% of the people that work in Clay County that are instructional staff do not get this best and brightest. And they've again done it again this year. I think it's the 4th year, somewhere like that, right, Dr. Getko? I guess it really boils down to, I've got mine. Tonight, I'm going to talk about my people. And I have something for you all. If you could pass it down. When I listen to Angie Whidden and Jared Eason and all the tragedy that's happened at W. Cherry this year, it comes to the realization that we have to go out there and get YCC and all these other counseling agencies all around the state, because what we have in Clay County is about 80 counselors who no longer counsel. The guidance counselors of Clay County are the people that really get the short end of the stick. Since I've been president of the CCA, I have tried everything I know to compensate these people, always falling on deaf ears. Always. In front of you is a job description for a guidance counselor. I've also included the job description for social workers, and more importantly, a job description for a specialist social worker. So when social workers who I love, and they know I love them, and I'm not being disparaging to them, so when they take on extra duties, they get to be a specialist. And I'm going to guess it's about 40% of the social workers are specialists. But when a guidance counselor takes on extra duties, they don't get anything. If you look at the job description for the guidance counselor, you will see things like plan and develop guidance programs. They don't get curriculums. They're supposed to do it themselves. Do individual group counseling to all students, leadership and consultation, placement services, work with administration and teachers, interpret counseling and guidance services of the school, and most importantly, perform other duties as requested by the principal. I love that line, because no one knows what it means. Because certainly principals do not have any jurisdiction to tell people to work outside of their job description. Do you see on their job description anything that says testing? No. Nowhere in the job description for a guidance counselor is the job to test. But yet, that's exactly what the guidance counselors are doing. We have guidance counselors who this month will be testing 15 out of the days of May. The National Association of Guidance Counselors recommends that an effective counselor and an effective counseling program has to have a ratio of 1 to 250 students. A guidance counselor for every 250 students. That's a national recognized ratio. If you look at the junior high, and if you go to the paper and these 2 pages, and you will see the junior high is the first one. And you will see a school like Green Cove Junior High with 777 students has 2 guidance counselors. And you will see what they have and how they split it up. And how many kids each guidance counselor is supposed to take care of. But yet Green Cove has 3 administrators. Keystone has 1,314 students. And they have 3 guidance counselors, 3.2 guidance counselors, and 4 administrators. Lake Asbury has 1,103 students. They have 3 guidance counselors and 4 administrators. Lakeside, 822 students, 4 administrators. I'm sorry, 3 administrators, 2 guidance counselors. Oakleaf, 3 guidance counselors, 4 administrators. 1,120 students at Oakleaf. It's a huge school. 2 guidance counselors, Orange Park Junior, 756. 3 administrators. Always more administrators than guidance counselors. And who's in charge of testing? Administrators. But who does it? Guidance counselors. These numbers are staggering. Look at the high school numbers on the next page. It makes absolutely no sense that Ridgeview High School has 1,497 students and has 5 guidance counselors, and Oakleaf High School has 2,545 students and has the exact same number of counselors. We have counselors at Oakleaf that's expected to service 500 students. Something has to be done. The workload and expectations placed on these counselors is borderline abusive. When Parkland happened, and all the counties was asked to send counselors, we didn't. We sent social workers. Why? They're not counselors. 2 completely different disciplines. We sent social workers because counselors are, guess what? Testing. Testing. Testing is more important than the mental health of students. Testing is more important than the guidance program of any school in this county. I have asked for supplements. I have asked for them to be considered for specialists. I have asked for them just to be considered for time. They get nothing. They get no supplements. They get no specialists. They get no best and brightest. But when the call gets out for testing, everybody says all hands on deck, but the hands that are on deck are guidance counselors. That's the hands we're really talking about. We're not talking about anybody else's hands. We're not asking anybody else to go outside their job description, but the guidance counselors. I remember before I was president standing here and begging for a guidance counselor for Orange Park Junior High. You all remember that? And the magic number was 700 for us to get the 3rd guidance counselor. They have over 700. The other thing that guidance counselors do when they're not testing is they're preparing the test. They collect the tests, they sign the tests out, they make sure the tests are legal, they make sure that the accommodations are being given, and they're there before school and after school. They don't get paid for it. If we had a coach doing that for a season of 3 months, you're darn tootin' you'd be paying them. I am amazed that guidance counselors are on the same salary scale as teachers. Not where I come from. I came here in 1997 in a guidance counselor scale making $68,000 a year. In 1997. But our guidance counselors aren't in a different scale. Our school psychologists are. Our speech therapists are. And our occupational therapists are. And sometimes I blame myself on this one. And the reason they have different scales is because they sat on bargaining. Key people sat on bargaining and got different scales. I don't think that's the way we should work. I think the way we should work is do the right thing. And I've always said that, and I've always worked collaboratively with this association, with this school board and this district. But something is wrong here. Since Parkland, the big, huge emphasis, besides all our cameras and all our police and everybody having a gun, let's all, load them up, is mental health counseling. Who's doing it? We're calling in YCC. Our people who have the expertise are counting books. It makes no sense. Your allocation for staffing of guidance counselor is terribly flawed. You got it straight for the administrators. You need to get it straight for the guidance counselors. Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Davis, can you look into that? I mean, it sounds like we need allocations. We're not following the national average of 1 for every 250. We need to add allocations for these guidance counselors. And it sounds like we need some, but it also sounds like they're not doing their job description. Their job description doesn't say testing, and we need to correct that. Whoever should be doing testing, not the guidance counselors.
Yes, ma'am, through the chair. We'll definitely look at it. We can look at national models. We'll look at surrounding counties, what we're doing. I don't disagree when it's probably related to the school counselors doing testing. I don't disagree. They should be in classrooms with kids, and they should be working with kids from a mental health perspective. So
I agree.
We'll work to determine whether or not we need to bring allocations and where if we do, and continue to look at surrounding counties as well so we can make certain that we're in line. So we'll definitely look into it.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, sounds good. Next is the CESPA update. Teresa Roman. Dixon, excuse me. Hey, flash of, oh my gosh. Flashback. Okay, Teresa Dixon, I know your name. It just.
Thank you, Teresa Dixon, CESPA President. I really have just very little to say. It's a lot to follow here, and I've been taking lots of notes. It's been a very interesting meeting. I'm along with Rena Lee watching the legislative session, and I'm completely flabbergasted by some of the ludicrous decisions that are being made by people that I am not confident know what the heck they're doing, to be honest. But I did want to just mention a positive thing. I found out we have 15, I believe, paras that have qualified for the Para to Pro program run by the district and in conjunction with St. Leo University. Everybody's very excited about that. I'm very excited about it. I think it's a good step in the right direction. And really can't wait to see this whole ball get to rolling. And I understand what Ridley is saying about testing, and certainly our guidance counselors are really swamped with a lot of that responsibility. So I would suggest hire some more testing coordinators. I know we started off with, we were going to have testing coordinators in the junior high and the high school, and then because of budgetary constraints, the junior high schools were eliminated, and it was just at the high school level. And I know at my high school, having that coordinator there to do all that book counting and prep work has relieved at least some of the stress off of the guidance counselors. Of course, one testing coordinator can't do all the testing for all of the students in the school, so everybody kind of comes together and helps make that happen. But it would be a way to possibly eliminate some of that burden from our guidance counselors who should be working with our students. So with that, have a nice evening.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Dixon. Okay, superintendent's update and presentations.
Yes, ma'am, to the board, and thank everyone for, like I said, from Patterson coming out and being advocates for your children. We in your community, we understand that it's not attractive, but we'll continue to work every single day to make sure we make the right decision, an informed decision for the school district. And as well as I said earlier, I agree that counselors should be in classrooms working with children and seeing children and families where needed in order to develop and address any issues that may arise. Overall, tonight I want to talk about my presentation for this evening is to look at, give an update on our partnership with American Heart Association and what we're doing in Clay County District Schools. Look at our 17-18 current audits that we currently have that were approved, and give and provide a community update, as well as acknowledge champions of change. So as you know, the school district, one of the biggest things in the last 3 years is I work to expand the work from the American Heart Association. And this is a partnership where we teach heart health to our students in various ways in every one of our schools, in junior high schools, in elementaries, primarily. And this is really for a part where we work with our, to address and partner with American Heart Association to really help and assist with the combat of heart diseases and heart conditions. And this is where we look through kids' heart challenges and also with American Heart Challenge as well, that truly works to educate our students about their physical and emotional well-being related to being well. I want to take a minute to show a video about Coralie. She is a student at Patterson, and just show why we continue to do great things and partner with this great association.
The day I found out I was pregnant, I was ecstatic. The sex of the baby did not matter to me. I was just excited to be pregnant. I always wanted to be a mom. When we found out she was a girl, it was 18 weeks. That's when they couldn't see all 4 chambers of her heart. They could only see one. Eventually, they referred us to the cardiologist, and they gave us a better outcome, hypoplastic right heart and L transposition of the great ventricles. So that was something that her cardiologist felt was not going to be a major issue. She was going to come out and not have any problems. She'll have to go through procedures, but it would be a lot better option for her. Towards the end of our pregnancy, they noticed that her heart rate was low. Finally, the doctor came in and said, no, you need to go down to labor and delivery. We're doing an emergency C-section because her heart was failing. They took her out right away and rushed her to the NICU, and I couldn't see her. That was the hardest part, not knowing what's going on with her. And it was hard to hold her the way I wanted to hold her because she had all these cords on her and all these wires. She was actually doing really good in the NICU. She was doing excellent in the NICU. The doctors were shocked at how well she was doing once she came out. A month into her being born, she went into heart failure. She was still just not eating well and over-breathing, which led up to that first procedure. She's 11 years old now and doing amazing. If you were to look at her, you would have no idea that she's a heart hero or has a heart defect or lets anything get her down or that she struggles. She is the light of my life. She's my world.
Each surgery that Coralie's had has been equally trying for me. You want to take your child's place. You want to have the surgery for them, but you can't. That's probably the hardest part of it all for me, is I can't take her place.
The past 11 years, the hardest part throughout this journey is the struggle of not knowing what her future is going to hold. She's going to need more surgeries. more procedures. We don't know what they are. We don't know when they're going to happen, but we will do it together as a family.
I do have a special heart, and it doesn't stop me from being like other kids. I mean, a lot of times I wish to be normal, but now that I think about it, I wouldn't change it. My scar represents my strength and everything I've been through to be healthy.
Without the research of the American Heart Association, Corley's prognosis wouldn't have been able to been diagnosed correctly. There's been so much amazing research out there, and so many lives have been saved.
She's my little girl, and I want her to stay my little girl, but I know I have to let her grow up. I want her to find someone to fall in love with. I want her to go to college and experience life and enjoy the things that everyone does.
She has a purpose. She has a purpose to be here and make a change in this world. She is going to be an advocate, and she's going to do amazing.
Oh, boy.
Excuse me. So the question is, why do we partner and why do we push so hard to make, impact in our community? Is because the Corleys in our community, in our schools, to be able to help them in the system. As you see, this is Northeast Florida's numbers, where so many individuals are impacted by smoke, heart disease, blood pressure, physical activity, obesity. And we're really trying to strive to make a difference to create a better, a better you, a better me, a better, community. And through this, we have over 30 schools that are participating in the Kids Heart Challenge, and a majority of our junior high schools and elementary schools. And if you look at it here by the numbers, so we have 30 schools that participate. Over 2,000 students have pledged to take the Heart Healthy Pledge to be committed to this work. 24,000 students have been provided with proper education aligned to this work, and we've raised over $130,000 in Clay County District schools. Of this, $4,100 have been extended back to our schools for PE equipment to support this initiative, and $2,900 is direct checks that are going back to schools because they may not need PE equipment. They may need to increase their classroom libraries, their Chromebooks and instructional resources and materials. But overall, the money given back to our school district is around $7,000 to Clay County District schools. I put this on there. We are ranked number 8 in the state in our earnings and for this. And if you look at this, the majority of these schools are all the school districts that are ahead of us are the ones that have so many more schools throughout the state of Florida. Number 7 is Miami-Dade. They have over 350 schools within their county. So these are the big 7s and big 8s and big 10s, and we are very competitive and related to our size, which means that we got a lot of punch and a big heart. So I'm very proud of the leaders, the teachers, the support staff, and the students and the parents who are involved in this process to continue to make us shine throughout the state. So thank you for all those who've committed to this project. We'll continue to grow this initiative in 1920 to make sure everyone's actively involved to continue to be the change and to make the change. As relates to talk about audit findings, Openly, we want to say the operations audit finding came out with 13 findings. The majority of those were linked to to DOE Discovery Oaks. And we say that because we haven't built a school in a long time, and we believe through that analysis that we were right in so many of those findings, and Dr. Kim would tell you, and Susan and Dr. Legucco, but they were staple findings they found throughout the state. But in the day, our rebuttals were really strong. The biggest thing I can always hear, the school district needs a financial audit. Well, the financial audit happens annually, and I'm glad to say there was only one finding in 17-18 financial audit, which means our school district, our staff, Dr. Legucco's division is in the board is very, very mindful about how we spend our dollars. And the only finding that we had is because we overpaid workman's comp and through Title I. Other than that, every categorical dollar in everything, instructional materials, whether it be related to SAI, whether it be related to general fund, capital funds, it's all been spent in a proper manner to make certain that we address it through our strategic plan. And then finally, internal, and we do internal audits all the time in our schools. So this is through the school bookkeepers and the school leaders and teachers and sponsors throughout our school district. Last year we had 613 findings. And you say that's a large number. It's kind of normal when you have so many transactions in a school. The biggest takeaway is that we drilled that down to 438, and we'll continue to work to make sure we have best practices in our schools. So overall, hats off to the financial team. Dr. Legucco, you and your team continue to do great work, and thank you for being mindful and a steward of our dollars. And then last one is community update. So as you know, there's been some heres and theres related to school safety. And I would tell you that the school board, along with myself and staff, have worked diligently to make certain that we are making the right decision to protect our children and the adults in our community. So overall, the great thing that's happened this week, we had a meeting with Sheriff Daniels. I'm thankful for him and his team. In that meeting, we really had a chance to roll up our sleeves and to discuss, what our articulation, interlocal agreements and mutual agreements will look like. We had is a great meeting where the sheriff is committed to continue to push forward with community policing. We're until August 13th, and especially in our elementary schools, because knowing that we have articulation agreements in all of our junior high schools with the interlocal agreements, this really impacted us in our elementary schools. We're thankful for him to being able to help us. It allows the chief who we brought on board 5 weeks ago and the 2 lieutenants that got on board last week to really work diligently to stand up a police department as directed. And this honestly couldn't happen without this meeting and all of us being on the same page, and everyone's hearts is in the right direction. So all that to say is that a number of MOUs are going to be in place to make sure that we're moving in that right direction, along with interlocal agreements. Thank you for Mr. Bickner for being at the meeting along with staff and along with Chief Wagner, for us to really figure out how we genuinely focus on protecting our students, our teachers, our leaders, and our staff members. So thank you for this community to believe in us. And now you can see us. We will be locked arms and lockstep in order to move forward with this initiative. So I just want to say thank you to the community and the sheriff's office and our staff for having an awesome, productive meeting yesterday. And then finally, Champions and Change. And I'll go down and I'll hand it back over to Ms. Studdard. Thank you, through the chair. Every month we do Champions of Change for individuals who have little deeds, huge impact. And, as you can see on the slide before, this is a number of individuals who go over and beyond to do great work for our community. And these are individuals that understand that initiatives aren't just initiatives in isolation, but they're truly initiatives to really make a difference for children and for healthier lives. And this month, is all about the American Heart Association with our Kids Heart Challenge. And I want to bring up individuals, if they'll come up if they're here. First place who raised the most money in Clay County District Schools related to this is Oakleaf Village Elementary School, raised over $20,000. So Principal Kendrick, will you please come up? And at the same time, we have an individual that led all of this work at the school, and that is the event coordinator, Mrs. Rose Woolvine. Please come up as well, and thank you for what you do every single day.
It's amazing.
You did a good job. Thank you so very much. You do the work we do every single day. The schools in our community.
Rose, do you have the keychain?
She put some of the work over there. There's no doubt about that. Also, do we have anybody from Thunderbolt here this evening? Anybody from Thunderbolt? All right, Thunderbolt's here. Thunderbolt's second earnings, close to $13,000. I would have gave you the $1 to get you there, but we can't thank Principal Mrs. Healy, also Annette Gray and Crystal Zagarosa. Did I get close? Say it. Zaragoza, Crystal Zaragoza. Let's give them a round of applause for a great job for the money that they have generated as well. So I'm going to give you this as Mrs. Lacey. You can have that one, Ms. Gray. Thank you so very much. Thank you for your hard work for event coordinator. Thank you, Ms. Crystal, as well. Thank you so very much. Sorry for last name. You'll stand here. And then finally, in a close third, Patterson. Patterson, I wish they would have stayed. I could have gave this with, we have Doc here. Doc's here. Thank you, Doc. Ms. Hanson. But, through the leadership of Mr. O'Brien and also the event coordinator, Mrs. Courtney Schumacher, thank you so very much for what you do. If y'all please come up and be recognized as well for being champions of change. Thank you for giving back to this community, and thank you for making us important through our school every single day. So, you're champions of change for me. Squeeze in.
Y'all might get a little closer. There.
Thank y'all again.
Very good. That Coralie video and what a darling little girl she is. Okay. Okay. Human Resources Special Action, we had none this month, so we don't need to vote on that. Next is D2, public hearing to approve as advertised the 2018-2019 through 2020-2021 Special Policies and Procedures Manual. I will open the public hearing. Is there anyone here who would like to address this item? See, they're all rushing down. Okay, I'll close the public hearing and bring it back to the board. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Have a motion by Ms. Karakis, second by Ms. Bola. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say no. Motion carries 5-0.
Is that my timer? You throw it.
All right.
We almost,
We need to
Lonnie,
make
it's
him get
almost
up
time
and
to
sing.
go. Okay.
Lonnie, come on, come to the mic. Now you got to sing. That's your punishment. Tomorrow, come on.
Through the chair, your
Okay.
name and your address.
Okay. School board attorney remarks. None? Okay. School board member remarks. Let's see. Ms. Bullock, I think I haven't started with you before. Let's start with you.
Okay, sure, no problem. Of course, April was a busy month, and we keep going into a busy month. But I went to the Listen and Learn about the police department at Keystone Heights High School, and that was very nice. I appreciate it. He did a great job, and I think everybody was very impressed. He also came to my Kiwanis Club and talked about the police department. Probably two of the highlights is I got to do mock interviews at Keystone High School and Middleburg High School. And I went to the J.P. Hall Charities event where they awarded scholarships, and this young man kept making sure I had tea. I mean, he'd leave everybody else at my table out. I got tea and bread, everything. And I thought, finally he said, "You interviewed me the other day at Middleburg High School." I thought, okay, that worked out good. And then I got my cultural fix. I went to see Peter Pan at Keystone Heights High School, and it was a joint effort with the elementary school and Keystone Heights High School. And then the next night, I went to see Annie at Thunderbolt. So I've gotten all my, so the young lady who sang, she did a great job here and there. So, and then we got to serve at the Empty Bowls at Salvation Army. And however, Addison, keep your day job. He's so, there's a side thing when you pour water. I mean, he never did. Ice went everywhere. I mean, he's just not any good at it. So anyway. Yes. And no, it was just bad. He was bad. And then finally, I just want to say happy birthday to my granddaughter, Briley. She just got her driver's license. So all of you, get off the road.
Did you help train her?
No. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Bola.
Thank you. Yes, you are absolutely right. April was an incredibly busy month. We always look at January and say, oh, look at all the all-county things. And then April comes up and everybody has their plays and everyone has their different activities. And it was a busy month. Shout outs to Bye Bye Birdie at Ridgeview High School. Exceptional evening. And the talent in that school is awesome. Following that, Miss Bice invited us to hear Carmen in her special ed music class, and it was delightful. It was truly, truly delightful. Joined Miss Bullock at the mock interviews at Middleburg High School, and also went on the tours with the business partners at Middleburg High. And that was truly rewarding. Every time I go on one of those tours, I learn something new about what we're offering in our schools. And at the Empty Bowls lunch yesterday, sat with members of the ViStar Tuesday, pardon me. Sat with members of the ViStar community. And people kept saying, oh, this is our boss. This is our boss. I'm sorry, I don't remember this gentleman's names or both of them. But all I could do was talk about the wonderful work that our students are doing in the ViStar credit unions in our schools and how the other people on these tours are absolutely amazed with our students and with what we're offering our kids with hands-on experience. So a shout out to ViStar as well. Let's see, toured PACE recently, and I wanted to do a shout out to my tour guides, to Diamond and Grace. They did a beautiful job. The girls take you on the tour and show you all the different parts of the program and tell you their stories, which is incredibly profound. Got to attend a softball game finally, Keystone Heights High School and Oak Leaf High School. I never played softball in high school. I played basketball, and I would never catch for my niece, who was a pitcher, because I can't believe how fast those girls can throw. It's awesome. Very, very impressive. Enjoyed the elementary school at Keystone Heights and the high school on Friday night for the Peter Pan production. Amazing. The collaboration between the two schools was so much fun. And it was great talking to the elementary kids afterwards and saying, do you think you're going to continue in drama? And they were like, well, yes, ready, ready for Broadway. It was awesome. Math Field Day was a hoot. It is such a treat to go and volunteer at Math Field Day and see all of these mathletes stepping up and coming through. I have to give a shout out to Argyle. The new t-shirts, 1/5, 2/5, red 5th, blue 5th. It's a little difficult to say, but really went over big. I mean, I posted all of the t-shirts. I took pictures of all the t-shirts and posted it on Facebook. And it's such a hoot to hear from high school friends and college friends and sending out saying, oh, this one's my favorite, or that one's my favorite, but that one seems to be gaining the most, the votes recently. It was a treat also to have all of the students at Math Field Day sing happy birthday to our superintendent. And he took it beautifully. Arbor Day at Doctor's Inlet Elementary School. We were busy this month. And right before Arbor Day, I got to have a chance to go over to Ridgeview Elementary and see the butterfly garden. And I have to do a shout out for the art teacher there. The fence at the butterfly garden is painted like Crayola crayons. And it's absolutely gorgeous. So didn't see a lot of butterflies because it was incredibly windy that day, but that's okay. The last shout out that I have is for all of the teachers out there. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for what you do. And for having the passion and the drive to work with our children. in sometimes what feels like an unforgiving or unwelcoming, whatever type of environment you might be in, not appreciated, you are appreciated. And you are thanked every single day for everything that you do for our kids. And I can't say it enough, but happy Teacher Appreciation Week. I know many of you are celebrating or participating next week. Some have put it off for a week because of testing. But I don't think we can do enough to say thank you to all of the teachers that we have in our community. You are the reason we're all here. Thank you so much.
Okay, Ms. Gilhousen?
Well, you covered everything.
I tried.
So I'll just say what a joy it is to be in our schools with our kids and with our teachers. And I'm so impressed that at this point in the school year, you're in the middle of testing, we still have over a month left of school. We're winding down, but this is the home stretch. The level of energy and passion and excitement that I see when I walk in a classroom or interview a kid or, just I'm so impressed that we have such high morale, such just that the learning opportunities here in Clay County inspire kids to want to learn. And I see that no matter what school I visit. And it's been an exciting month, and I'm looking forward to summer like everybody else, I'm sure.
Yeah. Okay, Ms. Karakis?
Yeah, it's been a busy month. I actually have like business to talk about though, instead of just what we've all done, which has been crazy busy. I did see that we got the evaluation for the attorney, and I read the contract. It does say that we need to evaluate annually on or before December 1st. I feel like it's kind of early to do it, but if the board wants to do that, that's all well and fine. I know that Mr. Broski probably brought it forward to you because district staff's evaluations are taking place at this time. However, the attorney's not really district staff. But the attorney's contract does say that the evaluation tool will be developed between the board and the attorney. And so I think that we're violating the attorney's contract by using what we had used last year. And I know last year when we used this with Mr. Daggett, we kind of all said we were going to condense and look at it and make it smaller, because there's a lot in here that doesn't even apply. And so I think instead of us doing this evaluation, maybe after or during our next workshop, we can take a few minutes and with Mr. Bickner develop an evaluation that actually falls in line with his job description. So I wanted to bring it to the board because I did bring his contract with me, and it does say, the school board shall provide the attorney with periodic opportunities to discuss attorney-school board relations and shall inform the attorney from time to time of any inadequacies in such relations and perceived by the school board. The school board shall assess in writing the performance of the attorney on or before the first day of December of each calendar year during the terms of this agreement and any renewal thereof. The evaluation instrument and process shall be developed jointly by the school board and the attorney. The annual written evaluation of the attorney's performance shall be based upon the attorney's job description and this agreement. And so we're in violation of the contract if we don't develop a new tool in collaboration with our attorney. So I would just like to see us kind of throw this one out because it's, 10 pages of busy stuff, which served a purpose when we first got it, but, and just develop a new, and I would like to see it more condensed, but more focused on the job description. So I'm bringing it to our board to see how everybody else feels.
Mr. Bickner, could you or Mr. Broski get some attorney evaluation instruments from some other districts for us to look at? Because I agree, this thing, I remember when we filled it out before, it's long and involved and some of it doesn't. So I wouldn't have any objections to doing that if y'all want to. Have it something that's more appropriate for what we've got. And, with Mr. Bickner coming in half a year, but we can let you, when should we evaluate you then?
Probably.
I have several
Okay.
of those
Okay.
contracts. I have contracts and I have evaluation tools from various districts throughout the
Okay.
state already.
Okay.
I'll be happy in there from over the several years.
Okay.
I'll be happy to put that.
Well, do y'all
to the
want
board. As far as evaluation,
We've got,
Timeline, he's still talking.
as far as the evaluation timetable, it's in the past, I don't know what you've done in the past 2 years. I know that the 2 years before that, there were no evaluations. And before that, before 2014, it was done in August and September and brought to the board in October. And never after November. So it's kind of up to y'all when you want to do it, but that's
well,
what,
we kind of got out of whack because
understand.
you
Well,
came in mid-year.
and
But
that-
I don't have any objections to that. And what if we, then that gives us some time to come up with a tool to bring to the board for any more input, and then they can talk to you, and we can come up with some kind of, that's not too lengthy, but yet covers.
I think
exactly
100
what you're-
pages could do it easily. So it's fine.
Okay.
I'm sure that I can. They're probably 3 or 4 pages long.
So, because if you're saying that we wouldn't need to evaluate until August,
Well, probably later. It's because the contract previously was due in November, right? Or October, the.
Well, that's when it
4
was,
years ago.
that's when contracts were redone for the district,
Right.
for the school board appointment, yeah. I don't really have any heartburn as to when you do it, and my only consideration in doing it this early is that I've been here for 4 months, 5 months this month. I have done a lot of work for some folks. I've done a lot of work for district staff. I've done a lot of work for superintendents and his folks. I have done less for other board members, and for some, none at all. But I am always available and always ready to talk about anything and look for anything and pursue any idea that you have about anything. And so that's my only drawback or my only suggestion about thinking till later in the year is that the experience would be deeper. But again, that's simply up to y'all.
Well,
but,
I
but the
understand.
thing is
What?
we know you, we've worked with you before, so we kind of know the way you work, except for.
There are 3 of you who do.
Three of
yes.
us. But what I wanted to ask is, do y'all think we ought to kind of line it up at the time that they're evaluating senior administrative? I just want to get it back to where it's because we started out mid-year, I'd want to get it to where we're doing it kind of, and do y'all want to do a mid-year every 6 months too? I think once a year, and I would love to do it. Mr. Davis just said, they're doing the senior staff and all that. I think if we did it now and maybe just set a time, Mr. Bickner, what would you say, like July, August, whenever y'all want to, we can do the evaluation. So, but I'm thinking, the reason I was thinking this is, the school district year kind of starts July 1. So I was thinking if we get all this in like May, that then we would have time, not particularly this year, but if some years we wanted to address the compensation, it would do it before the budget year starts. So there's a lot of things to think about. So it's your pleasure if y'all want to speak up as to when you want to do this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Mr. Bickner, you said you've got some samples. If you've got some instruments that you think would be good, what we can do is when's our next agenda review?
May 28th?
And I think it's a special meeting that day also.
28th.
right?
That's what I was thinking. We could tack it onto that and we can bring you
Right.
what seems to, and then y'all can give input to Mr. Bickner between now and then on that agenda review special meeting, we can add that on. See, that would be, what day did you say, May the?
To the chair, I think it's
See,
a 28.
here's the difference, though. Our district staff's contracts run
Yeah,
July through
yeah,
June.
different.
Mr. Bickner's contract
agree.
runs December through November.
Why?
Because he
that's when
signed a
he's hired.
contract in December. That's
Well,
when we hired him.
that's what we're trying to get away from, Ms. Kara, because
But we don't need
we
to get
hired
away
him
from it.
mid-year. why don't we just do it
Have a
at
workshop
the
on the
normal?
28th.
He's got it.
It doesn't, we
It
can,
really doesn't matter, except
we can
that,
discuss this.
except that it says annually on or before December 1.
Yeah.
You're moving it up 8 months.
But we
before
just hired
December
him
1.
kind of midway.
That really
through.
doesn't matter. He's the one employee that the board hires.
Okay.
He's not district staff. So it doesn't have to be
I
the
don't
same
care.
time as district staff.
It's not worth falling on the sword on. Just whenever y'all want to do
Right.
it, it's fine
However,
with
He's
me.
been with us 4 months.
So, and through the chair, so at this stage, I'll pause and let Mr. Bickner work through each of you to decide what instrument you want to use.
Okay.
So I can tell you this, for mine in the last 4 months, Mr. Bickner, you've been awesome. You've done an outstanding job. So thank you.
I think you're going to get a great evaluation. You're doing a good job. Okay. But if you'll all get together and then you can get input with the board and then we'll figure it out at the workshop. I think we're all getting tired.
I will have samples of all of those various things to all of the board members by the
And y'all can
13th.
decide, and the board members may have some input on it. It doesn't matter to me what time of the year we do it. Just we need to get set on something. It makes no difference to me at all.
Okay.
Okay.
Aside from that, Mrs. Bull, you hit on it when you complimented our teachers in the district. Our teachers are the reason that we're an A district. They are the backbone of our school district. Our staff does a wonderful job at the district office, and we just appreciate everybody. So just want to say thank you.
Okay. See what happens when you're the last one in line? You've already talked about Annie, the math field day, Arbor Day at Doctor's Inlet, the redistricting meeting that where Mr. Davis was trying to stir up things, the Empty Bowls luncheon. I was the bread gal. She was water, and I understand you did not do a good job.
water on you, person.
Okay. The only thing y'all forgot is for Special Olympics, we participated in Tip-a-Cop over at Longhorns, and we tipped quite well. Thank you very much. The students in school are counting the days, but they just don't know that the teachers are counting the days just as much as they are. It's an exciting time. They'll be coming up with the 6th grade graduations and the high school graduations. And one thing I did want to mention, just as a plug, Kelly Watt will be pleased with this, the Clay County History Festival is from 10 to 3 at the 16 Ferris Street in Green Cove at the Historic Triangle. And that ought to be something that we would all enjoy going to, but that is Saturday, the 18th of May, from 10 to 3. And if y'all would like to go, you might want to put something out in our weekly to plug it. Okay. If there's no other...
I just have one more thing. Mr. McCauley, tell them about the thing in Keystone, the health fair, if you'll just apprise everybody of that.
Yeah, we were invited to set up a table at a health fair being organized by a community group down in the Keystone area on Saturday from 12 to 4. So we will be there, myself and several of my team, just kind of talking about some of the work we're doing related to wellness, mental health, social and emotional learning, nursing. We can't leave out that group, Ms. Collhausen. So we're excited that we were invited to come down there. My understanding is a lot of different local groups will have tables set up at the Capital City Bank parking lot and the facility. So come out and see us.
Good. I will see you.
Sounds good. If there's no other business, any of you over there want to say anything? Are you still awake? Anybody over here? Okay, then the meeting is adjourned.